What's going on, guys? Andrew Piluk Hockey here, back again with another video. I just wanted to give my thoughts on the Maple Leafs before they enter free agency. Now, by the time I post this video, there could be more news. There could be names on here that I'm talking about that could be completely out of the question. But I just want to apologize for not posting in the last couple days. I'll just be completely honest with you guys. There's going to be more coming in terms of a video that I need to make. But I'm dealing with some things mentally, and that's kind of why I haven't been able to post as much as I want to. But there's going to be a video explaining that very soon. I'm going through some things, and I have been for a really long time that I've just been pushing off to the side. So that's something that you guys are going to hear about very soon. But I just wanted to apologize because I haven't made that very clear. So thank you guys again for sticking around, all the people that have been subscribing and watching. I greatly appreciate that. And if you are new to this channel and you keep coming back but you aren't subscribed, I'd greatly appreciate it. It does help a lot. Liking this video helps, and subscribing. It's completely free, and I would appreciate it. But the Maple Leafs need to do something in free agency. Okay, that might sound like such a simple statement, but they genuinely need to do something. They were not part of the silly season of trades that have been going on, which, by the way, guys, don't tell me that all these GMs haven't been making these ridiculous trades. And oh my God, the signings that have been made, a lot of them have been brutal. A lot of them. Some of these contracts are really bad. And I mean, I can't say too much. I'm a Leaf fan, and overpaying forwards and stuff like that is a bit of a thing here. But man, there's been some bad contracts dished out. But we need to talk about how the Leafs will approach free agency. What are they going to do? What type of players are they looking for? Well, let's just start off with what's been reported. They're looking, apparently, their number one priority is finding a backup or a 1A, 1B for Jack Campbell. Their next is depth on defense, but a glaring need is that they need guys that can play the wing and maybe a depth centerman. Are you going to put Kerfoot on the wing? Are you going to leave him at third line center? That opens a massive hole on the left side. You can't go into this season with Pierre Engvall and Ilya Mikheyev as the guys on the left side. I have Spezza on the right with Simmons, Marner, and Nylander. So the left has Nick Robertson, Pierre Engvall, and Ilya Mikheyev, and I would suspect one of Mikheyev or Engvall is going to be traded or sent down to the minors to create a little bit more cap space for the Leafs, because you can bury close to $1.2 million, or I believe it's just a little over that. But regardless, they can bury a little bit of that money. So the glaring need is wingers, in my opinion. The backup goaltender position, there is a ton of goalies available on the market and via trade. So I believe that they will be able to address that need. And I don't want them to spend more than $2 to $2.5 million on a goaltender. I have one name that I'm going to bring up here. You guys, I've said that I think he's going to get overpaid. There's a lot of people that think he won't, but I'll bring that up later. I brought up some forwards here. I didn't really touch on too many defensemen because it looks like Kyle Dubas is only just looking for a little bit of depth, which might just be re-signing Ben Hutton and hoping that some guys like Mac Hollowell or something like that can make a step this year. I'm already including Timothy Liljegren into the equation, so your depth would be Riley Brody, Muzzin Hall, Sandine Dermott with Liljegren, maybe re-signing Ben Hutton, burying him in the minors, whatever they're going to do. But let's just bring up a couple of the names that have been rumored to be at least linked to the Toronto Maple Leafs at the time I'm recording this. Josh Ho-Sang, okay? So he's been a little bit of a project with the Islanders. It hasn't been working out. And let's just say he might have some potential here, okay? I'm not going to say he has potential. He might. He's 25 years old. It just hasn't been working for him. He hasn't been playing over here in a while. So what would he bring? What does he bring to the Toronto Maple Leafs if they were able to grab him? Now, as you can see, since the 16-17 season, the Islanders and him haven't really been getting along. It's been well documented that there hasn't been too much of a liking of each other here. So 12 points in 22 games played with the Islanders here. He had 10 and 21. He had 2 in 10 games here, and then obviously from there, he's been all over the place. He's been putting up points everywhere that he goes. Let's be honest. He's been doing quite okay. But how will the Toronto Maple Leafs use him? Will he be a guy that they throw into the AHL? Will he be a guy that they give a contract to in the NHL and hope that he works? If I'm the Toronto Maple Leafs, and you guys are going to think I'm crazy, they need to give him significant minutes to start the year. And I'm not talking like, oh, he's going to play top minutes every night. I'm saying they need to give him significant minutes, enough that you can see something. Not like, oh, let's throw him out there for a few minutes, for a few games and see. No, that's not how you see how a player can play. You don't just throw a guy out there for 8 minutes a night and go, well, he didn't show us anything. Sorry, my chair literally is broken. I need a new chair. But if they're going to give this a shot, they actually need to allow him to play. Because if there's some potential there and the Leafs go, okay, we're going to do the same thing as we did with Galchenyuk, which I will get to him in a second, but we're going to at least let you play with the big guys for a little bit here, and we want to see what you got. And if he can give the same type of value that Galchenyuk has been giving the Toronto Maple Leafs, which I'd like him back, and like I said, we're going to talk about him in a little bit here, why not? Like Steve Dangle says, I'm not going to scream, but why not? Why not give this guy a shot? And I'm not saying this is the big fish. This is just what the Leafs have been tied to. Apparently, there's a chance that it could work. We'll have to see. All right. Now, this next guy's a little interesting. I don't know how this would work. I've heard maybe a little bit on Twitter that this is an option. Nick Ritchie. Okay. Again, 25 years old. And he's a big guy, 6'2", 230 pounds. And all of this information is coming from Cap Friendly, as you can see here. But what would his number come in at? Because this would be kind of an expensive contract, I would think. It's not going to be less than $1 million, right? Because look at 1.4. So he's going to be getting a little bit of an upgrade here. He just finished 26 points in 56 games played, 15 goals. 19 and 41, 31 and 60. The guy can put up a decent amount of points. 4 points in 11 games played in the playoffs. But he has a bit of size. He has a bit of what Leaf fans would like to see. He's a good player. He's a good hockey player. But how much are the Leafs going to be spending on these guys? Because at first I was under the impression that the Leafs might be able to go after a semi-decent name and then fill in the rest of the holes. But I'm going to show you guys on Cap Friendly why I think the Leafs would be better off trying to see if they can find value in cheaper contracts and younger players who might just need a change of scenery or just need another opportunity to play in a system that could work out better for them. So, and again, those things kind of sound the same, but in more videos coming up, I'll explain what I mean by that. But there's some guys that are good on on teams that just they need a little bit of a bigger opportunity. Now, I'm not saying Nick Ritchie is that guy, but he might be another guy that's interesting to the Toronto Maple Leafs because, I mean, he brings what the Leafs don't really have. A lot of size that can score goals. That's important. That's very important. Now, another name that's been linked to the Toronto Maple Leafs, and this one that Leaf fans would also be really interested, another 25-year-old, Michael Bunting. Now, of course, he has ties to the Leafs when it comes to Dubas and Keefe being his coach and GM in the Sioux. Again, people are probably like, oh, God, here we go again. Bunting's a very good player. He, as you can see here, he would probably be coming in a little bit over $1 million, I would imagine, maybe into the $2 million range, even though I don't think that that's worth that type of contract. But everybody's been getting overpaid this offseason. 13 points in 21 games played, 19 and 16 in the AHL. He's a good hockey player. I've said that a bunch of times here, but these guys are not necessarily bargain bin guys, but they are at the same time. I just think that this would be a good fit. As you can see in the Sioux, he put up quite a bit of points. He could score goals. So is this the type of guy that you could see playing for the Leafs? Now, he had a good shooting percentage. Will he keep that up? Probably not. So this one, the Leafs have to take with a grain of salt. I don't think that they should be overpaying for Michael Bunting. And I made a Cap Friendly, which we'll look at in a little bit here. I made it like maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago, maybe 2 weeks ago. I'm not really sure how accurate some of these contracts will be. Some of these might be a surprise to me again because I'm just opening up this page again. I added a few players to this video that I believe the Leafs might be interested in or linked to. And I hope that this next guy is a guy that the Leafs bring back, and that's Alex Galchenyuk. I like the way that he played for the Leafs. The report that's out there saying that he was very happy with the way he was treated in Toronto. Only 27 years old. I think he showed a lot of promise. I believe that he's the type of guy that you can get at a cheap cap hit once again, and really hope that he can play, up to his contract again. He'll probably get a slight raise here. I think that it's very fair that he gets just over maybe $1.2 million. But again, the way that contracts have been signed this offseason, who knows? He had 12 points in 26 games for the Leafs, 4-6 in the playoffs. Guys, there was a lot of Leaf players that weren't performing in the playoffs, and Galchenyuk actually performed pretty well. Him, Nylander, and Kerfoot were actually very good together. That line was dangerous. They were the only dangerous line, really, to be honest with you. So I'm very happy with that type of signing. If the Toronto Maple Leafs can get depth by bringing back Galchenyuk, I would be pretty happy. Now, this is where some people might start to disagree with me. Now, as you can see on this roster, you're going to see Rickard Rakell here. This is the guy, if I were the Leafs, who I would go after if they could make a trade. Just under $4 million. He could play with the big guns. You can let Galchenyuk play. And I don't have Richie or Ho-Sang in this lineup. I have Bunting getting a raise at 1.5. I have Engvall in the minors. And I have Mikheyev as an extra forward here. Or you could substitute him from somebody else here if you don't think Robertson's ready. Even though I would much rather give Robertson an opportunity here. You could trade Mikheyev. You could do whatever you want to do here. I have the blue line. You can bring up Sandin as a healthy scratch, and that would still give you $1.1 million, and that would also include this extra forward. So the Leafs could have close to $3 million if they wanted to mess around with the cap here. Like, let's just say I'm putting him on LTIR. Oh my God, the page is gonna refresh. Hopefully not. So I can't really do it. It's not going to change the number, but the Leafs would have just under $3 million in cap space to be able to do more if they had to. I also have Yaroslav Halak here. We could look at his numbers as well. I have him at $2 million, but again, he could get overpaid. If you want, you could have him at 2.5, and I would still have enough money to make that work. His numbers have been really good. He's able to take on a large amount of games, and when he does, he still has good numbers. So it's very possible for the Leafs to get a guy like that. And as I mentioned before, Rickard Rakell, he's 28 years old. He's got 1 year left on his contract. I'm sure the Leafs would have to give up a very high pick and a very good prospect, I would imagine. 28 points in 52 games played, 42 in 65, 43 in 69. So the production isn't as good as it has been, but I do believe that maybe this drives his price down just a bit. You could see how he works with those top guys, and I honestly think that he would be a good fit for that top line. I do believe there's a chance you could swap Marner and Nylander, see how that works, but I do like the way that this line plays together. I like Tavares with Galchenyuk and Nylander. I like Spezza playing with Kerfoot and Robertson. I think that would be a really good line. I honestly do believe that Spezza can keep up with these guys. We've seen it last year. Bunting, Brooks, and Simmons. You also could move Bunting up in the lineup. These are just guys that I believe have a very good chance of making this team better. Okay, in the playoffs, you're going to need more than these guys. And again, I'm sure people are screaming at their computer right now saying, oh, put Richie in there, whatever. Sure, you could do that. But the key to this roster here is that this Leafs team is good enough because they need these top guys to lead them into the playoffs. It doesn't matter how you get there, get there. But at the trade deadline, if you want to address a big defenseman, if you want to address that need, if you want to address a big forward up front, the Leafs would be accumulating cap space. Okay? The Leafs would have a lot of money to work with. And again, I keep referring to it. Downtown Stephen Brown, myself, other YouTubers, whatever, have explained that at the deadline, cap space can be used in a very different way. You can get retention, the way the cap builds up throughout the season. The Toronto Maple Leafs would have more than enough money. This is way more money than they had at the deadline this year. They had all that extra money because of Freddie Anderson, but now the Leafs could actually work with some money here. especially if they have just under $3 million if they were to trade a Mikheyev or an Engvall or whatever. The Leafs would have money to do things at the deadline again. And if they got double salary retention or whatever, they could really bring in a good name. That takes an $8 million player to $4 million with 50% retention, and then 50% again turns that into a $2 million player. The Leafs could get whoever they wanted to at the deadline. They would have to obviously make a significant amount of pieces to go the other way, but they have picks. They don't have a ton, but they do have picks. They can make things work. But I'm not saying this is the final roster I would go with. I'm not saying that this is a good roster. I'm saying it's a good roster. I'm just saying it's framework of what the Leafs could possibly look like. You trade for a good name. You make some good signings, which again, this lineup doesn't even include Ho-Sang or Richie if you want to substitute a guy out. If you want to make Simmons a healthy scratch some nights. If you want to send Robertson to the Marlies if you don't believe he's ready. The Leafs could go with different things. You could put Kerfoot up on that second line and you could get a centerman on that third line. There's a lot of different ways they could do this. But again, thank you guys so much for sticking around for this video. I just wanted to give my 2 cents before everything starts to go down tomorrow. I do work, so the videos will have to be after I'm done work, although I have a very busy day tomorrow. So I honestly have no idea how I'm about to do this, but we're going to see. That's why I wanted to give you guys my thoughts right now. This video was way too long. If you are new here, make sure to subscribe. I'd really appreciate it. Join the squad. I appreciate you guys, and stay strong, stay safe, stay healthy, and hopefully I'll see you in the next video or stream. Peace.